All right, welcome back. Now, believe it or not, this is going to serve as my video that was planned for this weekend. I actually decided not to even do it. I'm not even going to do a part 2 on inherently bad breeds. I'm going to just stick to the subject and deal with the information however it comes. So I figure a good thing to do here was to find something as simple as possible. I always got to keep in mind that my channel, or both my channels, probably the most unexpected channel on YouTube. The people just don't expect an entire channel to be made about dislike for dogs. They don't even expect to run across one video, let alone a channel. So I want to stay mindful of people like that and keep it simple, especially for this type of subject. The inherently bad breeds are the bull breeds, as well as German Shepherds, Doberman Pinschers, and I will even say Labrador Retrievers. Basically all large dogs. St. Bernards. Remember, Great Danes are bull breeds, etc. The dogs that are inherently bad are all dogs. Why? Because they all have an instinct to attack. They all use violence as the primary source of communication. We have to get that straight, because that's unacceptable already. To keep creatures as pets that communicate by or through violence. Already that's ridiculous, and that's not a pet. So if you got one specific breed of creatures like that, especially bred for fighting, that's ridiculous. You're already out of line having creatures like that, pushing them as pets. But then you have a specific breed that's bred for nothing but violence. That breed is inherently more dangerous. Understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that a breed of dog is inherently violent. I'm not saying that bull breeds are inherently violent. I'm saying they're all dogs, all breeds are inherently bad, inherently violent. Bull breeds are just inherently more dangerous, inherently more violent than the rest of the already inherently violent and dangerous, bloodthirsty, deranged mutants. And this is just for clarification for the people out here saying this nonstop. Now, I'm going to go over this quick video from no other than Cesar, Milan. He uploaded this video 3 years ago on his channel. And this is the new wave ideology of bully breed advocates. I understand that he wrote pit bulls, but this is a situation about bully breeds.
Dogs are a species of animals that are categorized into hundreds of different breeds. In the 1800s, the pit bull was created by crossbreeding the traditional English bull baiting dog or English bulldog with a terrier.
The traditional English bull baiting dog. So already this English bull baiting dog was inherently more dangerous than the other breeds already. Starting back then, they started off with a breed bred for killing, attacking. Now understand, before they crossed it with the terrier, these things were already so bred and programmed for violence that they would attack the bulls until they died. They said that they would attack these bulls for hours. So already these mutants were bred to the point where they would not cease attack until the large animal died. So it was bad enough already. It was already inherently more dangerous.
The English Bulldog was bred to take part in a rather barbaric form of animal fighting called bull baiting, where the dog controls bulls and other large animals by biting onto their faces and heads. With the rise of animal welfare laws, blood sports, as they were called, were eventually deemed inhumane and outlawed in the UK in 1835. With that ban, it was decided that concealing underground dogfighting rings will be much easier than hiding a dogfighting with a bear or a bull. So
okay, y'all get that? Y'all get that? Animal welfare advocates started to object against bulls being tortured. And understand what you're dealing with in this era. You're dealing with mobs of people who got off on seeing bulls tortured. Now I'm pointing this out because what makes you think that people today don't get off on people being tortured? They got off on seeing bulls tortured so much that it became a popular sport. So humanity was already as degenerate as possible.
Humans decided to mix the strength of the English Bulldog with the agility of a terrier, creating what they believed.
Heard that? They wanted to mix the strength of the English Bulldog. Notice how they're describing the English Bulldog as if it was only dangerous because it was strong. Talking about the strength. As if it was just strong and not a bloodthirsty killer. Oh, it just had physical strength. Oh, it just was able to move, large boulders, right? No. They mixed one deranged, unstable mutant with another one, so that their derangedness, due to their mutations, would combine. That's what happened.
With the agility of a terrier, creating what they believe was the supreme breed of dogs ideal for fighting other dogs. Even though we're nearly 200 years later,
Don't let them con you. Don't let them con you. They said the result was a dog ideal for fighting other dogs. Why? Because now it's muscular and agile. So that means it's more of an efficient killer, period. It's not just more efficient at fighting other dogs. It means it's more agile than the old English Bulldog. More muscular than the terrier. They made a more dangerous breed.
For fighting other dogs. Even though we're nearly 200 years later, all of that history has led the pit bull to where they are today. The most feared and villainized dog
Most feared and villainized? This is how Cesar is trying to con the public and mislead the public, if you ask me, in my opinion. These dogs are not having traits applied to them that they're not demonstrating. These things are earned. They earn their reputation. It's not being pulled out of thin air.
And villainized dog in the world. In the 70s, it was the Doberman.
In the 70s, it was the Doberman. No, it wasn't.
In the 90s, it was the Rottweiler.
In the 90s, it was the Rottweiler. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Get out of here. And just because people recognize Dobermans and Rottweilers as dangerous, that doesn't mean that they saw pit bulls as harmless. Listen, man, you want to come out your face and say stuff like that, nutters, we're going to try to verify what you're saying. So I pulled up this old school list of fatal dog attacks. It's kind of hard to find right now, harder to find today than it was in the past. But here is a list of fatal dog attacks from the 1970s. You tell me how many Dobermans you see here. Here's a Lab, German Shepherd, St. Bernard Shepherd, 1972. 74, St. Bernard, Golden Retriever, St. Bernard, German Shepherd, Dachshund. Ain't seen a Doberman yet. What are you talking about? Look at it, German Shepherd, Mongrel, Husky, German Shepherd. Okay, so what are you talking about? A Pit Bull, and it's 1976. Great Dane, another bull breed. Shepherd dogs, Husky. What Doberman? What you talk about in the 70s, it was the Doberman. So you're saying in the 70s they were talking about how dangerous Dobermans were, even though other breeds were out here killing people? What are you talking about, man? I just don't understand these people and some of the things they say sometimes. And they just want to be believed, just believe me because I say it. No, thank you. I'm going to have to see some evidence. We're still in the 70s. Have we seen a Doberman yet? No. And he said in the 90s it was the Rottweiler. There were a lot of attacks by Rottweilers in the 90s, but the pit bulls, the bully breeds, were right there alongside the Rottweilers. They wasn't far behind, if they were behind at all. Here's the 1990s. Shepherds, okay, Husky, and then a lot of pit bulls. There's 4 pit bull fatalities right there. But what I want y'all to also focus on, I want you to pay close attention to the ages. At first, dog attacks were almost exclusively a thing that happened to young people. Look at this. The victim's age, 4 years old, 5, 3, 73, unknown, 3 years old. Now this starting in the 1990s. Look at that. 5 days old, 4 years old, 35, 57, 2 months old. These are all pit bulls. Look at these pit bulls. Ain't seen a Rottweiler yet. 1990, okay. Pit bull, look at the ages. 8, 6, 3, 86. Is this the first Rottweiler? 1992? 3 pit bulls, actually 4, and another Rottweiler. So, no, I'm not buying that. That everybody was just terrified of Rottweilers in the 90s. Pit bulls were just the same. They were just as problematic. Now here in 95 and I think 96, there were a lot of Rottweiler fatalities. But pit bulls were always right there along with them. Okay, and again, look at those ages. Pretty ridiculous. So stop that, Cesar. Stop that. Stop that. Because he's projecting this idea that what people are doing today and what they're saying about pit bulls is all myth. It's all in people's imagination. People have no evidence. They're just making things up. That's what he's trying to project. And that's far from the truth.
The 70s, it was the Doberman. In the 90s, it was the Rottweiler. But since the 2000s, it's been the pit bull as ranked supreme. So what exactly am I saying about pit bulls? I am saying that they have been stigmatized and
No, they have not. They have been acknowledged for their behavior. That's what they've been. You liar. Oh man, this drives me crazy. Stop lying. Let's make sure we know what we're talking about here. They have been stigmatized as if, they've been misunderstood. What does stigmatize mean? To treat someone or something unfairly. That ain't no description of pit bulls. People have not been unfairly saying things. They have not been making unfair statements about pit bulls at no point in time. What are y'all talking about? Lord, these people. And this is one of their top leaders talking about they've been stigmatized. Look at them. Look at their track record, dude. What are you talking about? And you don't want to look at the dog attacks between the year 2000 and today. You don't want to look at their track record between that time period. And it's all earned. Cesar up here talking as if these dogs are sitting at home watching TV like this and people around the world just making things up about them. If you really pay attention, he sounds like an absolute lunatic in this video. And really in every video, every time he talks, he sounds like a man who is insane, a psychopath who has no understanding of the world around him. That's exactly how this man sounds. Say something like that.
So what exactly am I saying about pit bulls? I am saying that they have been stigmatized and used unjustly by humans to fight imaginative battles for entertainment.
Now that suggests that the dogs don't really want to fight, but that they're being forced to. And that's an outright lie. Fact is, people have to restrain these things from launching attacks. And they never sick the dog on the other dog or the person that they're trying to attack, which is usually a child, a little toddler somewhere. What are you talking about? They attack, they fight because they want to. People were called inhumane for allowing them to fight and not breaking it up. That's what they've called humane. Don't let them trick you. At every turn, they're going to try to deceive you. These people, they were considered inhumane because they didn't break the fights up. The dogs themselves were already trash enough. Their brain, they were already worthless and degenerate pieces of trash organisms. All you had to do is release them, and they will go and launch an attack. So get out of here with that That's one of their favorite talking points. That people, you forced them inhumane, forced them to fight. No, they didn't, nutter. These things are just so deranged and violent, so bloodthirsty, that every time you let them off leash, every time they see a living, breathing organism, they want to attack.
And used unjustly by humans to fight imaginative battles for entertainment, to fight until surrender or death. While the pit bull was bred to fight until surrender, it's not in the dog's nature to want to fight other dogs.
Really? Y'all believe he said that? Once regarded, maybe even still by many people, as the top dog trainer in the world, said something like that.
And to surrender is not in the dog's nature to want.
Said it's not in the dog's nature. He's talking about bully breeds.
Until surrender or death. While the pit bull was bred to fight until surrender, is not in the dog's nature to want to fight other dogs.
What is he talking about? If it's not in the dog's nature to attack other dogs, then why do they attack other dogs and don't stop? Why, after they start the attack, why do they get a boost of adrenaline? Why does their brain start to release chemicals that makes them feel good? The chemicals really are to encourage the dog to continue attacking. That's the purpose of releasing those feel-good chemicals. Hey, this is what you were bred for. Keep doing it. Don't stop. And you saying that it's not in their nature? Dude, it's so much a part of their nature, it's overwhelming. Once they start to attack, their brains release chemicals that makes them numb to pain, so that they'll continue to attack even if they're taking damage. Many times it's severe damage, heavy blows. Sometimes they are even shot and stabbed and continue to attack. It's so much a part of their nature. If it wasn't a part of their nature, their brains would release chemicals that would make them want to cease attack. The attack would be momentary. 1 or 2 bites and then they cease attack. You know, like non-bully breeds. I mean, this guy, he must really be confident in the ignorance of the general population to say stuff like, and they are.
For entertainment, to fight until surrender or death. While the pit bull was bred to fight until surrender, is not in the dog's nature.
So what were you talking about at the beginning of your video, dude? You talked about the progenitor, the blueprint for the modern pit bull, and its grandparent was an old English bulldog that would attack bulls. But it's not in their nature. When they went from bull baiting and releasing these dogs to attack bulls and horses and large animals, when they switched to dogs fighting other dogs, they didn't have to do anything to these dogs to make them fight. You know how they train these dogs to fight? They simply give them something to bite on, give them something to chew on, and make them run. Give them a treadmill, stuff like that. Give them something where they have to jump up and bite something to hold on to it. All you have to do is train their muscles. Because fighting is already embedded into their system. So all you got to do is train your dog's muscles, its speed, take it to the fighting pit, and release it. The dumb mutt's already programmed for violence. So stop lying, Cesar.
Fighting other dogs or attacking people, that cause is always traced back.
Oh. You don't want to miss this. Listen to this.
To fight until surrender or death. What the pit bull was bred to fight until surrender is not in the dog's nature to want to fight other dogs. If there is a dog that is
not in their nature to want to attack. He's saying it's not natural for them to want to attack. Are you out of your mind? Every time we turn around, these things are darting across the land like a shark in water, attacking other dogs, people's kids. And he's trying to tell us that they don't really want to. Man, if you don't shut up. Wow.
Fighting other dogs or attacking people, that cause is always traced back to a human.
Boy, oh boy. The hustle is real. He said whenever these things attack other dogs and whenever they attack people, he said the cause is always traced to a human. That it's always a person's fault somewhere.
To fight and to surrender is not in the dog's nature to want to fight other dogs. If there is a dog that is fighting other dogs or attacking people, that cause is always traced back to a human.
Okay, Cesar. So what's the explanation for dogs that were not raised by people? Why do they attack people and other dogs? Why do stray dogs that grew up without an owner, why do stray dogs attack other dogs? And why do they attack people? See, this guy and others like him, they've realized that dog lovers, most of them, they don't read. They don't do research. And they don't think for themselves. So they understand they can tell you anything. Your brain don't really work properly, so they figure they are your brain.
Not in the dog's nature to want to fight other dogs. If there is a dog that is fighting other dogs or attacking people, that cause is always traced back to a human. Always. I work with so many pit bulls that people deem too dangerous or lost causes. I found that just like most people, it's not the dogs that are lost cause. It's that they have been taught to go against their nature. Say what you will.
He said they've been taught to go against their nature. So they're violent because they've been taught to go against their nature by people, by their owners. What is this man? What is he talking about? He's basically saying that when he comes across violent dogs, aggressive dogs, that it's the person's fault because they didn't do some dog trick to make it non-violent. So does that make sense? He's trying to argue that it's not in the dog's nature to want to attack other dogs or other people. Yet he's also saying that if you don't do any training, you don't give it any training, that they'll be just like this. So a naked dog with no training, bloodthirsty and violent, that's a human being's fault because they didn't train it away from what? Its nature. So he's The truth is the opposite of what he's saying. He just straight up lying.
I work with so many pit bulls that people deem too dangerous or lost causes. I found that just like most people, it's not the dogs that are lost cause. It's that they have been taught to go against their nature. Say what you will about two dogs who don't get along, but those dogs don't hate each other.
Say what you will about two dogs that don't get along. You know, dogs that fighting each other. He said they don't hate each other. Okay. That wouldn't surprise me that dogs are not sophisticated enough to deal with the emotion of hate. But they don't have to. Hate is irrelevant. All they have to do is be programmed to have an instinct to fight and kill. Who's talking about hate? So what he's doing now, he's trying to set the narrative. He's trying to craft our argument, dog critics, saying that we're saying that dogs hate each other. Shut up, man. What are you talking about?
To go against their nature. Say what you will about two dogs who don't get along, but those dogs don't hate each other. Hate is a conscious human choice. It is learned. Dogs
What is he talking about? And who's talking about hate, dude?
of all different breeds can hang out and sniff each other's butts, and some might like each other more than others, but there is no hate.
There is no hate. Dude, what are you talking about? Where and when was this hate debate? Where was that? When was that underway? I've never heard dog critics refer to dogs as dealing with hate, as being hateful. Man, what are you talking about? I thought this is what they do. They make up arguments and say that it's our arguments. And they make up the dumbest, most ridiculous arguments so that they can debunk it. Because the only things that they can refute is things that's obviously false or dumb, nonsensical. And this is their tactic.
I often say that one of my soulmates in this life was my pit bull daddy. He has the most gentle soul I ever known. I raised him with the four.
These things have no soul. Let's get that straight too, before we move on. These things have no soul. Better stop comparing these things to humans. Things are nothing like us. They cannot feel remorse. Anybody that cannot feel remorse is inhumane. You go around stabbing people in the face and don't feel nothing, no way about it, you are inhumane.
With the four most important energies a dog needs in his life: calm, confident, love, and joy. I use
Now he's just babbling. This is his Cesar babble.
calm, confident, love, and joy with any dog that I ever worked with who exhibit aggressive traits, and all of them were brought back to their true nature of being one of the best companions a human.
No. All he'll do is chop it in the neck, be dominant, give it food, and change the way the dog interacts with him personally. He has failed. Him, along with all the other trainers in the world, both public trainers and personal, they've all been working together with the dog-loving world, and they've all failed.
Human being could ask for. Knowing a dog's breed means you know the cultural background for that dog, and that is it. Just because you know the cultural background or color of your neighbor's skin doesn't mean you know anything else about them. Dogs are the exact same way.
The biggest lie of them all, suggesting that the difference between bully breeds and poodles is the same as the difference between a black person and a white person. Now, IQ check. Do you believe that? He just went over a breed of dog bred to kill. And then it was made even worse by crossing it with another dog. Like, population control. I mean, these things have been bred like you would do in a lab. Who believes that? Is it that, is it that easy to dupe people these days? Here you sitting up looking at these beasts with huge blocky heads, enormous muscles, and they're being responsible for a very disproportionate percentage of maimings, deaths, and attacks in general. And he's saying, oh, it's all a figment of your imagination. All of these dogs are the same. Really can't make this up. How many of you believe that? I know there's some dog lovers out there. There's some pit bull advocates, some bully breed advocates out there who's saying, yeah, that's right, that's true. Now, you'll have some people out there who say, well, there are some races, black people, you black people, you have disproportionate crime statistics. Any and everybody who says that is also an unintelligent imbecile. And also, most likely, a racist themselves. The use of law enforcement officers is how you get incarceration statistics. Before you could conduct any type of comparison like that, you'd have to have a neutral playing field, meaning that the cops do not target any groups more than they do others. The culture in this country has always been for white cops, because even in black communities and black cities, you gonna still have a white police department. The culture has always been for white cops to leave their white neighborhood and hang out in the black neighborhood and make all their arrests in the black neighborhoods. Don't try to compare that with dog breeds. And anybody who spew that nonsense, I'm gonna most likely block you. Dog breeds are not like different races. Anybody trying to push that nonsense, you may as well unsubscribe and just stop leaving comments. This is very dangerous. Because in this country, there is a desire for people to prove that they are not racist. And they're trying to play on that, so that you will look at discriminating against bully breeds the same way as being a racist. So basically, and this was uploaded 3 years ago, basically, because they failed so bad, this attempt to prove that bully breeds are no different from any other breed, because they failed so bad, they've gotten desperate. This whole thing of comparing identification of bully breeds as more dangerous with racism, that's just an act of desperation on their part. Bending over backwards, it's like a last minute desperation attempt to justify the presence of these things in society and neighborhoods. Basically, just an admission of defeat, if you ask me. Cesar, to me, has always made some of the most asinine statements. Compared to all other trainers, some of the things he would say was ridiculous. He's been attacked himself. He's been bitten more than once. Why are you getting attacked? Why are you being bitten? If you're so thorough of a trainer. Why, if you're so thorough and you know so much about these, do you resort to obviously false statements like the difference between bull breeds and other breeds is no different from the difference between a black person and a white person. This is an admission of failure. That's how I interpret statements like this. That you're failed and you're so desperate that you want to try to guilt people into treating these killer breeds the same way they treat a poodle. You've resorted to try to send people on a guilt trip now. So I'm going to just enjoy y'all's failure. I'm going to still be making content. I took yesterday off. I think yesterday, maybe a day and a half off. Much needed break from producing content. But we all should have Monday off. Okay, so this is a 3-day weekend for me. And I'm going to handle the rest of these videos between now and tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. But your boy Cesar is a piece of work. Shout out to all the members in the building. Mr. Payne, Stephanie Thompson in the house. Tata in the house. What is going on? Maurice Ryan. Right? Happy Memorial Day. Hope y'all getting outside, getting the barbecue going, having a good time. Dog free as always, armed, ready to put down the worthless mutt. Yeah, Mr. Payne says, such a deceiving con artist. Just his voice alone irritates the hell out. Right. Dog lovers don't live in reality. Most of them can't cope with everyday life. Hence the need for so-called, yes, it's so crazy. Need a whole video for that too. And I thought that for a while. They seem like they're uncomfortable just dealing with day-to-day life. So they need a dog. They have to be in this world that makes them less effective dealing with people. I read this statement from one dog lover, I think I shared it, who said the more time they spend alone with their dog, the more they hate people. Remember that dog lover said that? But the more time you spend alone with that dog, talking to it, not getting real human reaction, not dealing with a human brain, naturally your social skills with people is going to atrophy. Get rusty, going to deteriorate. And you see a lot of these nutters, they're inhumane and inconsiderate. And, they're supposed to be correcting us in these schools, but instead in the schools, they're making it worse. So yeah, I changed my mind. I'm not going to go on specifically about this slogan of no inherently bad breeds. I feel like that statement is so ridiculous that it don't deserve an honest, response. You know how people say stuff is so ridiculous, you'd feel like you're stooping down to their level to try to seriously answer it. That's how I look at this slogan. no inherently bad breeds. Any of you trainers out there, you want to disagree and you actually want to have a serious discussion about this, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. But as always, I don't expect to hear from none of you. Right? Easy, simple as that. Shout out to everybody. I will be back very soon, and I hope you all can join me as we continue with this crusade.